Hello, everyone. This is Charles McNeely, and it's beyond an honor to be with this gentleman on the screen with me. I'm going to introduce him by his bio in a moment, but this is truly one of the most wonderful moments for me as the founder of DevDoc to be able to talk to this man. And thank you, Mr. Anthony J. Tony Polk. And I want to share first off, before you begin anything, I want to share the your bio, just a little bit about you. And so here we go. Anthony J. Tony Polk, a retired Army colonel and Lake Charles, Louisiana native, is recognized internationally as an expert in blood banking. He was the first Black student to be commissioned a military officer from McNeese State University, MSU, and the first Black medical laboratory scientist graduate from the school. Tony earned a BS from MSU and an MS from Bowling Green State University in Ohio. Tony served with distinction for 30 years in the military. He commanded and supervised thousands of military and civilian medical personnel throughout the Pacific, Europe, including NATO, and the U.S. During his assignment to NHQ, NATO, he was charged with traveling to all NATO countries and evaluating their civilian and military blood programs. In his final 8-year assignment in the Pentagon, he was overall in charge of blood research and the provision of blood products to Army, Navy, and Air Force military medical facilities worldwide in peace and war. Following retirement from the military, Tony was hired by the national headquarters of the American Red Cross Biomedical Services in Washington, D.C. Among his multiple positions, he was chief of staff of the National Blood Program. He retired after 15 years. During his professional careers, Tony traveled to over 100 countries and all 50 states. He is a recipient of multiple military and civilian awards, including the Defense Superior Service Medal from the Secretary of Defense, and he was inducted into the Army Medical Department Hall of Fame. Additionally, McNeese State University declared Tony a distinguished graduate and named a university street in his honor. Tony has been a trailblazer all his life and has saved many lives in his distinguished career. And now he will tell his life story. Welcome, Tony. Take it away, sir.
Thank you so much, Charles, for this opportunity. The purpose of doing this story is basically I want to inspire young people or people of all ages to, when they come up against obstacles and they think they can't do it, they can hear my story and the things I overcame to reach the top of the mountain in my profession and say, yes, I can. We can do this.
Yes.
Additionally, I never missed a chance to teach and share my history, and we'll have part of that. And then we'll also have a few pearls of wisdom that were passed on to me by others that I'll share. The beginning of any life story begins with your parents. And so my mom was born in Opelousas, Louisiana. So you know she's a pretty woman. Yes. And my father was born in Alexandria.
Wow.
My mother's name was Edolia Stevens.
Thank you.
And my father he had such a proper first name. His name was Militon Brooks Polk. And so everybody just called him MB Polk.
It's a great name.
Yeah. My mother, I have a very good memory. I can remember back to when I was 5 years old very clearly. And I remember my mother taking me with her to help black women, give birth because she was a midwife.
Oh my
And
gosh.
in those days, there was only one black doctor in Lake Charles, and white people couldn't go to white doctors or hospitals, mainly because they probably couldn't afford to pay. Because my mother always got paid in food,
Yes.
and
Okay.
so yeah. So my father, on the other hand, had served in World War I,
Wow.
and the papers showed that he had become a sergeant and was stationed in France. I didn't realize how giving my father was until because he never talked about stuff. And but an article in American press in the 1980s highlighted a restaurant in Lake Charles owned by a black man that was the best restaurant in Calcasieu Parish.
Nice.
And part of the story was that white people would come to eat there with black people.
Yes.
And black people couldn't eat with white people, but the reverse was true, and they came to get their food. But the story is my, my father had lent the owner $300 to get his business started, and he never talked about it, and never asked for anything for it, other than probably a meal every now and
Goodness.
then. So I come from good stuff.
Yes.
So because in 2025 I'm 84 years old,
Okay.
I'm one of the few people left that actually lived through segregated times.
Yes.
And people ask me often, how was it? And I have to say there was good and bad.
Okay.
The good part was that uh, we coloreds, as we were called then,
Yeah.
had our own community. We had our own churches. We had our own schools. We had our own friends. And we had a roof over our head and we had food. And
Yes.
so within our community, we were happy. But on the other side, the bad part about it was we were not able to get jobs that would pay money. Our only jobs for my parents were as maids or janitors or that type of work.
Yeah.
And so that was the bad part about it. And more importantly, we just didn't like the idea of being told what we couldn't do in America.
Right. Yes.
So that was the bad part about it.
Yeah.
So people don't remember, perhaps, this is part of history. Uh, in 1897, the Supreme Court of the United States declared that it was legal to keep races separated. The Supreme Court.
Yes.
And that law had a tremendous impact on me.
Yes.
Another government decision that had a great impact on me was in in 1950 in 1947.
Okay.
The president integrated the military. Up until then,
Okay.
it was segregated.
Okay.
And that had an impact on me later on. And in 1954, the Supreme Court ruled that segregation in schools was unconstitutional.
Yes.
And that had an impact on my life.
Yes.
So with that little history, um, what happened to me? Well, my parents enrolled me in Sacred Heart Catholic School.
Yes.
Now that's interesting because both of them are Protestant.
Okay.
Yes, and so but they wanted the 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 moral education that I
Yes.
would get in the
I
Catholic school.
understand. Yes.
Okay, it wasn't that the public schools were bad,
Right.
which a lot of people try to make that the public schools were no good.
Right.
They were very good schools, very good teachers, but like any institution, there were a few kids that didn't want to learn and disrupted the whole thing.
Yeah.
Whereas in the Catholic school, that didn't happen.
No.
And if you did, you were kicked out.
Yes. Yeah.
So that was why I went to Sacred Heart Catholic School.
Got you.
Um, Now, I don't want to lose, this is gradually getting lost in history. The fact that all of the nuns at Sacred Heart and all the priests were white.
Okay. I was wondering about that. Okay.
Yes, they were all white. And the orders that they belonged to was their sole purpose was to educate Negroes and Native Americans. And so that was their mission in life. And
Okay.
yeah, so this was very interested in a very segregated community here with
Yes.
white folks. So I was used to white folks from day
Right.
one.
Yes. That's I
So,
didn't realize that. I have friends from Sacred Heart.
yes. So it's all gone now. Immigration
Yeah.
did away with them. And so just a side story is, Charles, when I was stationed in the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., I learned that the home for the old nuns was in Philadelphia. And so I made a trip up there to see them.
My gosh.
And there were two things that happened that day. One, they were so glad that somebody thought about them.
Yes.
They were doing well. They have a nice facility there. They take care of them, and when they pass away, there's a cemetery and all that.
Yes.
But they were so happy to see somebody, and it surprised me that nobody had.
Nobody what?
No one had
Oh,
come to visit them from the schools that they had taught in.
yes.
Which one? And
That's
so that was one thing. The other thing is for me personally, I finally got a chance to see what they look like. You can think of nuns that had the habits and the black on, and we never saw anything other than their face,
yes.
and we never touched them. Okay,
Yes.
but on that day, I got a hug, and we gave hugs, and I saw what they look like, and it, it just um, made me think that it only takes to say thank you to
Yes.
somebody, and that means so much, so much.
Yes.
We should do more of that.
Very much. Thank you, Tony. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So, wanted a couple of more stories about Sacred Heart.
Yeah.
One, two things happened that changed the course of my life. One is in those days, the paper boys were all white, and this one paper boy that delivered the paper to my house uh, started with a wave, like hi, hi, and he stopped. Okay, and we went and I talked to him because I was curious about what white kids learned in school.
Right.
And he was curious about what black kids learned. And
Nice.
we started a chat. And to make a long story short on that, is one day he said, "How would you like to be a paper boy?" And that blew me out of the water, okay?
Yes.
And I said, really? And he said, yeah. I said, well, I have to talk to my mom, but of course. And the story was, Charles, that the American press was actually saw the future that there was going to be some integration.
Yeah.
And they wanted to give black boys a chance to develop skills that would help them integrate
Good for
into
them.
society. And it
Yes.
was forward thinking for the press. And
Yes.
so, and they told all of their boys that were delivering the paper boys, to look for some black kids that could do that.
Wow.
They found me.
Yes.
I became the first black paper boy for the American press in Lake Charles.
That is amazing. That's wonderful. All
So
right.
that was my first trailblazing job.
Yes.
So I realized I took the responsibility seriously. But I tell you, Charles, being a paper boy is hard
Yeah. Yes.
because you got to get people want their paper, and you got to get out there whether it's raining or cold or whatever.
Yes.
So I did that for a year, and but then I had to give it up because, well, one, I wanted to play basketball in
Nice.
school, so and I was 6'4", which is what I am.
Oh my gosh.
Really skinny
At what
though.
age?
Yeah, I was 14. I
Goodness. Yeah.
know,
Basketball. Yes. That's a good choice.
yeah. So that was one defining moment in my life, becoming a trailblazer for the paper. Yeah,
Yes.
the other is our school. Lake Charles used to be a bustling place. There was a huge Air Force base, Chinook, that's
Yeah.
out there now. It used to be a real active Air Force base.
Yeah.
And you know, Lake Charles also had was the world's leading exporter of rice, and
Right.
so
Yes.
and then there was the petrochemical
That's right.
industry. So Lake Charles, as far as segregation, wasn't really as hard as some of the other places
Yeah.
that you could have been.
Yeah.
So every year, our school would go out to Lake Charles Air Force Base for orientation. I mean, just to see stuff.
Yeah.
And one day, I went over to the hospital and I saw this black officer who was a doctor, and he looked so sharp, and people were giving him his due. And I looked around, and there were all of these uh, pretty female nurses that were doing their job. They're busy and whatever. And in the 10th grade, Charles, I made a decision that I wanted to be a military officer and a doctor, and I wanted to be in the medical field, and I wanted to marry a nurse.
All of that in that one day.
One day.
Huge
So
day.
in
My
the 10th
God.
grade, so that set my goals for the future.
Yes.
So I graduated, and in those days, black kids and males didn't have anywhere to go other than the military. And so the majority of folks, including myself, wanted to join the military. And we were going to go into the Air Force, and most of them did.
Yes.
And so I actually had gone down and taken the test and was approved and was ready to go. And then one day I went by school to say goodbye to one of the nuns that was my science teacher. And she said to me, did you know about McNeese?
Hmm.
And I didn't know about McNeese. She said, yeah, they're taking colored students now. And she says, I think that you should apply.
My goodness.
So now I got a dilemma. Do I want to go to
Yes.
the military or do I want to go to McNeese?
Yes. Oh,
Joe, this is how I came. The day I got a acceptance letter from McNeese, they had to report for orientation. So I had to catch the bus to the part of town I'd never been in all my
yes.
years.
Yes.
And so when I get on the bus in those days was segregated. So all the black people were crammed in the back. And
Yes.
most of the were black ladies who were maids going to work over in the white section.
Right.
So I get on the bus and make my way through all these ladies. And I'm going like, should I get off? The military recruiting station was next to Muller's on Rhine Street.
Yes.
Okay, and should I get off there or should I keep going to McNeese? And so when the bus got to where I was supposed to get off, I'm trying to reach the rope to get off, but the ladies wouldn't let me off.
They
This
knew better. They knew.
was a fork in the road. That
Yes.
then I go, well, maybe I'll just go to McNeese, and if that
Ahead.
doesn't work out, I can always come back and go in the
Yeah.
military.
Yes.
So we get to McNeese, and it, back in those days, there was a horseshoe drive in front of the Hoffman building.
Yes.
The,
Kaufman. Yes.
the Hoffman building with the horseshoe, and that's where the flag was.
Yes.
And so I got off the bus, and Charles, something came over me, like, yes, this is where I belong. It was
Wow.
kind of like being in an oasis in the middle of a segregated desert.
Yes.
I could breathe on campus. And
Yes.
I sometimes I get emotional when I think about that day, but that's what happened. And so orientation, I walked in and there's 500 pair of eyes that turned around and looked at me. That could be intimidating, but
Yes.
I had seen white folks' faces at Sacred Heart, so it wasn't a big deal,
Yes.
but it's still intimidating. Anyway, at orientation, they gave us a little beanie to wear that
Yes.
said McNeese. And then when I got on the bus to go home that evening, all those ladies were going home too. Yeah. And so when they saw the McNeese on my cap at Charles, man, they all started cheering and clapping.
That is
It was for
wonderful.
real. Here's one. There's somebody, and so all their kids now have a chance. And that
Yes.
was quite an emotional time. So
Yes.
I suddenly gained 50 moms. They all were hugging me and whatever. So every day I caught the bus, but you gotta study hard. You gotta study hard. You gotta study hard. And so one last part of this story is one day a lady gave me a little turtle.
A what?
And turtle,
Oh my
a
God.
handmade turtle that
Yes.
she was making, and you could the ladies could put their wings in it, and it had a little top. And so she was selling them. And so she gave me a turtle as a gift and says, you got to remember the race. She said the rabbit ran all around and was crazy and whatever, but it was the turtle that won the race because every day they were on course and they took every day, one day at a time, and did the best they could. Charles,
What a wise woman.
yes,
That is such
yes.
great insight.
And I kept my turtle and put it on my desk everywhere I was. And just as a reminder,
Yeah.
uh, to just keep grinding one day at a time, and good
Yes.
things will happen to you. So, okay, so I'm at my issue, but okay. The next thing I ran into was the silent treatment.
Okay.
Nobody would talk to me.
Oh, goodness.
I know. So here I am as a science major, with chemistry, and all that, and nobody would talk to me. But they weren't nasty or anything. It's just they
Right.
wouldn't talk to me. It's silent treatment. And so also part of the ruling that allowed blacks to go to McNeese was the fact that all they could do was go to class and go home. They couldn't participate in any sports or anything else,
Yes.
and they wouldn't talk to you. So, uh, I didn't. I had to deal with it. So, but I also had to work, Charles, to help my mom because now my father, and then they split up. I don't know what happened, but now it's me and my mom.
Okay.
And so to keep going to McNeese, which wasn't expensive in those days,
Right.
I had to work. And so Charity Hospital is not too far from McNeese campus. So I said, well, maybe I go over there and see if I could get a job as a janitor. And so I went. And so I was filling out the paperwork and I put down school, McNeese State College at the time,
Right. Yeah.
in the 60s. And the lady read it and said, "You go to McNeese?" And I didn't know what was coming. She said, "Sit here. I'll be right back." I, I thought maybe she was going to get security and kick
Oh,
me out because this was
I
all
know.
new.
Yeah, I know.
I know it, but she came back and said, "Come with me," and she took me to the nursing chief, and the nursing chief looked me up and down and says, "Would you like to be an orderly?" I had no idea what an orderly was, but because I wanted a job, I said yes. I want to be an orderly.
Oh,
And what an orderly is and was, I'm not sure if they still have them. There are males that help the nurses with male students.
yes.
I mean,
Patience.
patient,
Yeah.
patient, yeah. And so I became an orderly, and that was another trailblazing. I was a paper boy now, and now I'm a black guy in an all-white hospital taking care of white patients, white male patients.
Yes.
So I really didn't care if the kids in McNeese didn't talk to me because I was getting a real hands-on education here.
Yes.
So, uh, so George, I can tell you, I've got a lot to say, so I'm gonna keep rambling.
Love it.
Okay?
No, please. This is wonderful.
Yeah. So part of my job as an orderly, in addition to taking care of the male patients, whatever, was to go down to the laboratory and bring up blood uh, for the patients.
Yes.
And so when I went to the lab, I saw uh, people were actually rolling up their sleeves and giving a pint of blood.
Sure.
And then I saw, and I would bring the blood back up to the wards and they would be transfused. And then
Yes.
patients would would get better and go home to their families. And I
Nice.
thought, what a noble thing. This is me.
Yes.
That's how I got into the blood business.
That's-
And I also decided that I wasn't going to make medical school because I didn't have the money and the grades or the connections. But
yeah.
this lab stuff might be something that I could do and be happy. And
Yes.
and so that's how I got into the lab field. That's how I got into blood.
Okay.
But for people that are listening, there's one more, another obstacle.
Yeah.
Well, I got off at 11 o'clock at night and I'm in the white section of town.
Yes.
How do I get back to the black section of town where I live?
Yeah.
Well, the cabs, there was no buses, no cabs, no rides. So what did I have to do, Charles? I walked. I
You
walked
walked from McNeese campus to North
yeah,
Lake Charles?
to, yeah, I lived, uh, I lived off of Railroad Avenue and Kirtland Street.
I know
And
exactly where that is.
yes, and
Yeah.
that was, I lived in that neighborhood. Yes,
Okay.
I did, Charles. And I did that 6 nights a week. And, but, Charles, I didn't waste my time because as I was walking, you know what I did? I went over my notes in my head from that day. And I memorized everything I had learned that day. And so, uh, but can you imagine a blind guy, 6'4", walking down,
Yes.
and I walked in the middle of the street because I didn't want to get shot or anything.
Oh my
And
gosh.
and all the dogs along the road know me. They know when I was coming along. They all were barking, and and but I would go over my notes and I'd talk to myself. Okay,
Yes.
and so that's that's how I got through that. And I did that for a whole year. And then, Charles, what happened? I was off from school on Saturdays and Sundays. And so one Saturday, I was down on Line Street and I saw this car, 54 Ford, was for sale. And so I stopped and asked the white guy, you know, how much he wanted for it. He wanted 300 bucks. And I said, I can't do that. But I explained to him my situation. I had to, I was trying that out, went to school and tried to, walk home. And this, this white guy said, you come back Tuesday when you're off because I'm going to co-sign a loan for you. And you got to promise me you're going to pay it off, but I'm going to do that for you. Charles. So,
Oh my God.
so finally, I don't have to walk anymore. I've got this beautiful 54 Ford. And so now my whole life changed. And I often wonder, all those people that saw me walking, when they often wondered what happened to me.
Yes.
So,
Now they'll
one,
know.
so one more story, well, two more stories about the McNeese area. Okay. One was ROTC. I loved Reserve Officer Training Corps. Uh, and back in the 60s, every freshman and sophomore had to be in ROTC.
Really?
Yeah, so we had hundreds and hundreds on drill day of people in uniform.
Yes.
Yes, and with rifles, M1 rifles. Yeah, and so where the building, the administration building is now, and the trees, all of that was vacant. That was the drill field.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and so the officers who were in charge of ROTC were regular Army officers that
Wow.
had been used to, whites and blacks and Asians and Hispanics.
Yeah.
And so they made sure that we were treated fairly. And
Nice.
yeah, and so this was the first time that black were able to tell white guys what to do,
Yes.
and they did it.
That's
In Lake Charles, perhaps, or Louisiana.
yes. Yes.
So, and they gave me a great chance because I became the first black cadet officer. And Charles, he used to be something. The military band was always good at McNeese. The band, period, but the military part was very good. They also had a drill team, Persian rifles that was very good. And then when we lined up, we lined up, and it was all the way to wherever street that is by where the old ranch, the old Coliseum used to be, where the used to do rodeos.
Yes. Yes. Sail Road, I think it's called.
Yeah, yeah, all the way around to Wine Street. That's how many troops there were.
Wow.
So we would march in, and what the ROTC people had allowed me to be, I got to be a cadet lieutenant colonel. And
Good.
so I was up front with the leadership group.
That's wonderful.
I know, another trailblazing
Exactly. Yes.
event.
Every few years, Tony, you're making these huge strides. That's wonderful.
So, all along, we're opening the door a little bit more and more by doing a good job. So, but the thing about ROTC is when we march on the field, all the girls would come around to watch us, and so we naturally stuck our chests out. And so every time the black cadets would go by, all the black girls would just cheer and yell, so that was big fun.
Yes.
So that was, I made it through all my classes, and now I got ready for commissioning. But guess what, Charles? For the lab course, you got to take an extra year of training.
Really?
Yeah, maybe your friend who's the lab tech will tell you about it, but you got to have an extra year to become a registered medical technologist,
Okay.
lab scientist, they call it now. And so the Memorial and St. Patrick offered that course. That
Nice.
they were very selective. They didn't select me.
They didn't?
No, they didn't
All right.
select me because they only selected one or two, and those one or two were more qualified than I was.
Right.
So what am I going to do, Charles? I'm just back to square one almost.
Yeah.
I'm ready for commissioning, and I finished up my didactic work, and ROTC comes through for me. Unbelievable, Charles. The colonel who was in charge said, Polk, I think you'll be a good officer, and I'm going to bat for you. Okay. And so they went all the way to the Secretary of the Army to get this done. Secretary of the Army level. And what they got done was they found that there was a course I needed at Brooke Army Medical Center in San Antonio.
Hey.
Yes. And so I could go to that course, but I had to enlist and be a private E1 for 1 year.
Absolutely.
And so I said, yes, I'll do it.
That's excellent.
I was going to get schooling, and I was going to get food, and I had to live in the barracks as an E1. And the problem, Charles, with being an E1 living in the barracks, you get all the dirty details.
Oh.
So I spent my share of time scrubbing the toilet with a toothbrush.
Yes. Okay, I got it. Yes.
But I did it. Okay. So for people who see this and are listening and you think you can't do it, yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
Because I finished that year and I got my commission, and now I'm free.
Yes. Yes.
Except I wasn't.
Well.
So I don't know if you want to stop here or you want me to keep going because I got more. Okay.
Yes. Let's keep going, please. Yes. I mean, we have plenty of time, and this
Okay.
was fascinating.
Yeah.
My mind's blown. Okay, Tony, already. So, yeah,
You think
let's
you
just.
can't do it, you can. So, so now I'm a lieutenant, and I've got I'm ready to go to work, and so I go. I'm at Fort Sam Houston, so I just stayed there, and uh, and now uh, I get my assignment.
Okay.
And I get my assignment, and they're sending me to Alabama. Now, I don't have anything, against Alabama, but
No.
this is the 1960s. The governor's standing in the door,
Yeah.
saying segregation forever, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
I'm thinking, like, how come you guys don't send me to Hawaii or California or, New Jersey or whatever? You
Yes.
know? So I get on the phone and I call the guy who makes the assignment in Washington.
Okay.
And well, uh, what we try to do is assign young lieutenants closer to home so they can make weekend trips back and forth. And he says, well, you're with the McNeese. Yeah. He says, well, what's the problem? I said, well, don't you know I'm black? No, I didn't. He said, all I have is a Rolodex in front of me
Right.
and with a card that says your name and your school and your degree, okay? And so I didn't know you were black, okay?
Okay.
And I said, well, can I volunteer for Vietnam?
Oh my gosh.
Well, I was willing to go to Vietnam because the war was going on
Right.
in the 50s.
Yes.
And so the guy said, look, why don't we do this? Why don't you go to Fort Walker, Alabama, and do your work there, and I'll work on trying to do something for you.
Okay.
And so off I went to Fort Walker. And sure enough, I get to Fort Walker, and it's kind of like what I envisioned. Everybody, I'm the first black officer in the whole hospital.
Right.
Okay. And let alone, I'm now in charge of the lab. And there's 60 people that I'm in charge of as a second lieutenant, and they're all white.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And half of them are civilians.
Yes.
So, Charles, what I'm going to do. But for people that are listening at this, one of my ROTC colonels told me one day, he said, Polk, you're going to be an officer and you're going to be in charge of people from all races.
Yeah.
And I want to tell you something that you should never forget. You got to be able to assimilate, is the word. You've got to be, I'm not telling you to lose your cultural identity,
Right.
but you got to understand that white people are like a tribe and they think a different way. Hispanics think a different way, Asians and black people, okay? And you're going to be in charge of all those types of people. So if you've got to make a decision on to be a good leader, how are you going to do that?
Yes.
And you have to assimilate.
Yes.
So here I was faced with the real life challenge of what he told me. I'm
Yes.
going to assimilate. Well, one of the things that I have learned that there's always somebody that's in charge who's not in charge that everybody looks up to and follows. And
Yes.
I had to find that person.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
and I did. And her name was Martha. I'm not going to use her last name, but her
Okay.
first name was Martha.
Nice.
And so one day I said to Martha, can we talk? And she said, yes. And so we went into my office and we sat down and I said, Martha, this is new for you and me too, okay? I've never been in charge of white folks like this, and you guys never had a black guy in charge of you. And I understand, but Martha, I'm here to take care of patients. It's a key word. What
Yes.
we do here determines whether patients get well or go home. And see, this is from my charity hospital experience where I saw real patients. I didn't know it then, but that gave me uh, the whereabouts to be able to talk to Martha.
Yes.
And so Martha said to me, she says, I'm about patients too, Lieutenant. And she says, Southerners don't talk a whole lot. But she said, you're going to be okay, Lieutenant.
Ah! Oh, that's nice. That's
Okay, Lieutenant.
yes.
And so that was the beginning. And for anybody listening, all you got to assimilate, okay?
Yes. Yes.
So I was successful there. Uh, and my career officer followed through. And this is the next part of my life that I just couldn't believe. He said, Polk, how would you like to go to Japan? And you can take your family with you. Uh, by now, I've got uh, a nurse, so I got all. I'm a lieutenant, and I'm in the medical field, and now I'm married to a nurse.
Yes.
We got kids,
Yes.
so off we go to Japan, and this he said this unit does nothing but blood banking.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it. Here I am, the guy that fell in love with blood banking, is going to get a chance to be nothing but blood banking.
That's
And so, yes, uh, I got assigned to that unit, and what they are, Charles, it's just like the Red Cross, blood services, but they were in uniform. We're all in uniform,
yes.
okay? And so what we had to do was we traveled all over the Pacific collecting blood from military personnel.
Wow.
So from the top of Japan to the bottom of Japan to Okinawa to the Philippines to uh, Thailand to Australia to Hawaii and all the other
Goodness.
little islands,
Yeah.
we went and collected blood.
Okay.
And so obviously we flew to all these places.
All right.
And I did it 12 times because I was stationed there 3 years. So every 3 months we had to go somewhere. And I was
Goodness.
but I loved it. I loved it,
Yes,
man.
but that's a lot of traveling.
Yeah. So when I said I've been a lot of places, I've been a lot of places. Yeah. So that was the beginning. And in between, I would go to Vietnam periodically for 3 months at a time
Okay.
when they were going to have a big surge and they needed extra help. So not only was I collecting blood and whatever, I was seeing it transfused to all the military hospitals, field hospitals that we had in Vietnam. And I actually, oh man, I saw one patient transfused 40 units of blood, and he was bleeding out all over the place. And the fact that they put hooked him up in his legs and his arms, and they were pumping the blood into him. And I was hauling boxes of blood to the OR. So those are the kind of experiences I had there. But anyway, after my Pacific tour was over with, I got picked up for graduate school because
Okay.
one of the things that people that are listening in the military as an officer, you've got to always be doing things to distinguish yourself from the other officers that are competing for the same jobs.
Yes.
And I find that a lot of officers that I know didn't realize they thought that if they just showed up for work, you'd be okay. But it's okay for a little bit, but in the end, you get eliminated.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Uh, so graduate school was one of the things an officer had to have. And while I did that, Charles, I got crazy. I also went to airborne school and jumped out of airplanes. And so, why did I do that? For several reasons. One, I wanted to have the respect of the soldiers that were drawing blood from me. If they saw jump wings, they were going like,
Right.
"Okay, guy, he's
Great
okay."
point. Yes.
Yeah,
Quite.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And the second thing I would just want to see was that man enough to make it. And I
Yes.
did. I
I got,
did.
yeah, I understand.
Yeah. So I finished my graduate studies and finished the airborne school.
Okay.
And now I'm assigned to Fort Hood, which
Okay.
is the military Army's largest military base.
That's what I've heard. Yes.
In
Okay.
Texas. Yes, in Texas. And so I'm assigned there though as the lab manager again,
Okay.
like Fort Rucker, and not the in slash the blood bank officer.
Right.
But what I found though, where there's 80,000 troops here, 80,000, we're buying blood from the local blood bank center guys, the biggest. And I'm
Okay.
going like, this ain't right.
Right.
So this is story here. I said, some kind of way I'm going to have to get a blood bank center established here. And so, of course, in the military, you put in the paperwork, and 5 years later, you might see it.
Yes.
Well, I wanted it sooner than that.
Yes.
So, what did I do, Charles? I got off my butt and looked around, and I saw an old barracks building that they were going to get rid of.
Yes.
The idea comes on like maybe we can talk them into letting us have that building, and we fixed it up, and we could start a donor program here at Fort Hood. Well,
Love
yeah, and fortunately, one of my NCOs in the lab was very handy with tools.
that. Nice.
So I talked to him. I said, I got this idea and I want to do it. I'm with you. I'm with you 100%.
Nice.
I was a captain now. Captain.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, yeah. And so we got the right people to let us have the building. And so on Saturdays, me and the sergeant were in there with hammers and paint and whatever, fixing the place up. And I also recruited my kids. Now, come with dad.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Teaching them work, hard
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
But I was gentle on them, and I
Yes.
paid them, okay?
Yeah.
But they slapped paint and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
So we got the donor center presentable, and then we started the program,
Nice.
and it was very successful. And now there's a multi-million-dollar donor center at Fort Hood.
And you started it.
Yeah, we're not.
Oh my, that's wonder.
So they've had me back to talk, how we got started,
Yes.
whatever. But
Yes.
yeah, so that was Fort Hood. So then I'm still talking.
All good. Fascinating.
Yeah. Hopefully people will be inspired.
I know they will be.
I got the biggest reward of my life for working hard. I got picked up and selected to command. Okay. You just don't get to be a commander. Okay?
Right.
let alone a lab officer. I was the first lab officer or medical technologist to ever be selected for command, another trailblazing job. And so the command was to go to Europe in Germany and be in charge of the European blood program. Well, I was the best person because I had been in the Pacific, okay, and I had traveled all over the Pacific, and so this was the sister unit to the Pacific unit,
Yeah.
and so my responsibility were for hospitals that were from England to Turkey and everything in between.
Yes. Okay.
Europe, yeah,
Right. Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So uh, the difference in Europe, a little difference was we actually had trucks and fuel equipment that we had to maintain, whereas in the Pacific we flew everywhere because everywhere was far away and there was a lot of ocean in between.
Right.
Yeah, well, in Europe, we had, in addition to our regular job, taking care of the trucks and whatever. So I did that successfully. I commanded for 3 years, and command is tough because it only takes one uh, issue, and they get relieved of your command. It
Wow.
doesn't take much to get relieved of command, but I survived for 3 years, and not only did I survive, I built a program up and got a lot of visibility for the program.
Nice. Nice.
So then I was so well thought of that when I got ready to leave, they said, you know, we don't know what the other countries do for blood. And what if we got into war and we had to share blood? We don't know if we could do that or not.
Right.
And they said, we want you, Tony, to go and evaluate all of those blood programs. So how could I was just, you can imagine, right?
Right.
So they gave me a budget and yeah, started. But I was the guy because during all the time I was commanding the Army blood program, I always made a habit of visiting the corresponding blood program of whatever country we would happen to be in.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
good.
Germans, I mean, just common sense.
Right.
You know how you guys do stuff, and this is how we do it. So they all knew me, okay? That was
Right.
another reason why I got selected.
Yeah.
So I did. I went to, at that time, there were only 16 countries that belonged to NATO.
Okay.
And it was really a proud moment for me because when I went in, I was representing my country, I was representing my race, I was representing my school, my geese, and that's what was in my mind.
Right.
And I had to do the best job I could. And I was well received everywhere I went. And to make a long story, wrap this part of it up, I realized that as soon as I went away, this might fall all apart. So in the military, you got to write regulations.
Nice.
So I wrote a NATO regulation that said that these folks would have to meet every 2 years to continue to build the program. And Charles, they're still doing that after all these years.
Boy, foresight. Tony, that's wonderful.
So I thought that, commanding was at the top of the mountain. I thought that me doing a study for all of NATO was the top of the mountain. Then they selected me to be in charge of the entire military blood program, Army, Air Force, and Navy in the Pentagon. Oh, so yes, so I'm assigned to the Pentagon now, and I'm in the hallways with all the generals and everybody. It was just in the Pentagon, if you don't know, 25,000 people work there every day.
I did not know the number, but that's
Yeah,
amazing. I didn't. That's a
25,000 people.
small city.
It is. And so, I used to run into Castro Weinberger, who was Secretary of
Oh
Defense.
yeah.
Yeah, and he and I had a secret hiding place. And because you want to get away from everything and find a closet somewhere, and there
Yeah.
was this one little room, and I was in there, and he pops in, and he said, "This is my room too." And so we used to chat, and then Colin Powell,
Oh my
I would see all
gosh.
the time, and he would we would talk about what I was doing, and then uh, Dick Cheney.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so let me tell you about my Pentagon
Please.
experience just a little bit.
Yes.
So I'm in charge of the worldwide program, and on my shoulders, if we go to war anywhere, well, the peacetime blood banking wasn't a big problem because everybody was pretty much doing it right.
Right.
But going to war, the difference, us going blood banking is you take the Red Cross in Lake Charles or Lafayette, they just got to worry about getting blood to charity or St. Patrick or whatever, or a few
Right.
other hospitals. Okay, I ain't worried about getting blood 5,000 miles away. It's a
Exactly. Yeah. A little different. Yeah.
little different. And getting there in a condition where you could transfuse it to a
Yeah.
patient.
Yeah.
So, and war could start anywhere in the world.
Yes.
So that was my responsibility. And so I approached it with the way I normally do things, look at it, evaluate it, observe, and then make decisions. And so I did that, and I was a hands-on guy because I had the experience. I didn't take what people could tell me crap and whatever, but I got out of my seat, go look myself,
Yeah.
and that was the hallmark of how I got things done.
Yeah.
And after a long, so it's normally a 4-year tour.
Okay.
You stay there 4 years,
Okay.
and you're only allowed one mistake, and you're out. That's
Oh.
why I can't understand these guys are
Right.
not getting kicked out now. But that's another story.
Yes. Yes.
so they kept me there 8 years. 8 years.
I'm not surprised, but oh yeah.
So I got two things done that I'm proud of. One is I got the research guys to develop a technique where you could take a blood and you could freeze it uh, by putting a glycerol in it, which is a
Okay.
chemical, and then you could take that blood and you could put it in a freezer at a minus 80 degrees, and you could keep it for 10 years. And
Oh my
so,
gosh.
this was quite the breakthrough. So that would help. It wouldn't help civilians that much, but for the military, you could pre-position blood.
Yes.
And on ships, you got to remember ships got medical facilities,
That's right.
and so we got that done. Yeah. So that was number one. Number two, towards the end of my 8 years, guess what? We had a war. The
Which
first
one?
Iraqi war,
Absolutely.
which wasn't which wasn't uh, planned as much as we planned for Europe and the Pacific.
Right.
This was kind of like out of the blue
Yeah.
because we didn't think Hussein was going to do what he did,
Right.
and we didn't think the president was going to react to that the way he did.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, we're in a big war.
Yes.
And so we had to haul the blood all the way to Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
But make a long story short, we got it done. And we
Nice.
got recognized as one of the programs that really worked without any hiccups. Uh, so that was the Desert Storm.
Okay.
But part of that, right before the war started, guess what happens? Guess who shows up?
Hmm.
60 Minutes. They came to the Pentagon, and their question was, do we have adequate blood supply? And is it being tested correctly? And so everybody was dodging whatever, but to Dick Cheney's credit, he said, we got Polk. So
That's
I don't know if he
excellent.
was being thrown to the wolves or he had real confidence in it, but I'm hoping it's the latter. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So here I am, like you, prepping for you. I'm prepping for 60 minutes, man.
Ah, ah.
And so they did prepare me a little bit because we knew who the interviewer was going to be, and her style was to ask you the same question innocently and try to catch you in a lie or something.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so we did that interview and I came out okay
All right.
because I knew what I was talking about. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what happened next, Charles, is I told you earlier, uh, I'm in my 8th year now. It's time for me to retire. Uh, and so I get a call from Elizabeth Dole. She was the new president of the American Red Cross.
I remember
And
that.
she had seen my interview on 60 Minutes and thought in her mind, I need that guy.
Yes. Yes.
Because, I was articulate, I was laid it out in common language, everybody
Yes.
could understand it.
Yes.
And so I get the call from her, and she wants to know, do I want to work for the American Red Cross?
Wow.
And I'm going like, I can't believe this. Okay. And so, yeah, I wanted to work with the American Red Cross because, again, it had an American in it. And I
Yes.
was patriotic, okay, and I love America.
Yes.
And so, in spite of our problems, I love my country.
Yes.
Uh, so I'm now over. I had a nice retirement. I got a nice medal from that you talked about the superior with the third highest medal in the Department of Defense.
Wow.
Yeah, the Defense Superior Service Medal.
Yes.
And but now there were tears when I took off my uniform, Charles.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So now
understand.
I'm over almost the end of the story here. I'm over at the Red Cross,
Okay.
and their headquarters is in Washington, D.C., off the Constitution Avenue. They
Yes.
got the whole block here, the
Wow.
whole
Okay.
block, yeah. And so the blood services is just one part of Red Cross because
Okay.
they do disaster relief and services, forces,
Yeah.
international service, and all that. So I show up, and the first board meeting that we have, Charles, guess what? I'm the only black guy there.
Okay. Here we go again.
Yeah, I'm the only black guy there. But, they were all nice and whatever
Yeah.
it is. So, but Charles, guess what I'm in charge of? The Red Cross at that time in the 90s had grown up and they had 57 blood centers across the country. And what had happened was all of those blood centers, even though they were Red Cross, the people in charge started to buy different equipment. They had different training and whatever.
Yes.
And so the Food and Drug Administration got tough, if you would, because there was only one license to the American Red Cross, but there were 57 different ways to doing stuff.
Ah, okay.
So Mrs. Dole wanted to fix that
Yes.
because the FDA was on her back, but more importantly, it needed to be fixed.
Yeah.
And so she got $2 billion worth of money from somewhere
Okay.
to fix it and put me in charge of it. White guy with all these white guys, okay?
Yes.
But she trusted me. She told me, I trust you because you're a military officer, and I'm not sure I can trust the Red Cross people.
Uh, yeah.
Not the, that was her opinion, okay?
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
they had, you understand, they had, if they wanted to fix the problem, they would have, okay?
Yes.
But
Yes.
anyway, that's what, and as you can imagine, people don't like to give up their fiefdoms.
There what?
Fiefdoms. There were
Yes.
57 different fiefdoms around, and I had to go in and tell them we're going to do it a different way. So, Charles, there was a lot of travel. Again, like I needed travel. So that's how I got to be all 50 states.
Yeah.
And, but we got it done.
Again, every time that you say that, Tony, we got it done.
Got
And
it
that's
done.
that's
Yep, we got
excellent.
it done. Yep. Yeah, we got it done. We transformed, is what we call the program, the Red
Nice.
Cross from 57 to one centralized organization with new computers. And
Yes.
what the important part was if you worked in Maine and you wanted to work in California, you didn't have to be retrained. It was the same procedures, same
Yes.
equipment. Okay. But it took a lot of. So, Charles, by this time, I'm just worn out. Okay.
I can imagine. Yes.
Yeah, I'm worn out and I just want to retire. So, oh, but then when Mrs. Dole and I had a conversation, and I told her, I said, we had a executive level strategy meeting, and we had to bring up things that we thought that the organization was at risk for.
Okay.
And I stood up and said, I'm telling you, I have traveled all over the United States. I've been to every Red Cross organization 3 or 4 times. And guess what? Of all the leadership, we got 2 black people.
Ah.
Now, I didn't want to bring up the race, but it was something they hadn't thought about. Okay?
Right. Yeah.
And so I said, we depend on the public to give us donations and blood and whatever.
Yeah.
And they would like to see some of the leadership look like the people that are doing this. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And you don't have to give people a job just because they're a different color.
Right.
They have to be earnest and be competent. That's something you need to look at, I said.
Yes.
And my military training had taught me if you bring the problem, you better have a solution.
Yeah.
So the next day, I got a call to report to Mrs. Dole's office. And so I did. And she said, you're going to be my chief diversity officer. And again, that was a good choice because I had been to all these places.
Right.
Everybody knew me and they thought I was a good guy. So,
Yes.
I wasn't somebody new coming in threatening me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Charles, let me tell you something. I've always been kind of a smart guy.
Yes.
And so I had realized that just telling people you ought to hire people of color and what really doesn't sit well with a lot of people because they think they're forced into doing something.
Yeah.
But I remember Lake Charles and what happened there. And what happened there, and you probably don't even know this, they was talking about, well, we ought to integrate whatever. But it didn't get serious until this happened. The national hotel chain suddenly decided that they would open the door to everybody overnight.
Okay.
Yeah, and so everybody, all black people were suspicious of what this. They didn't believe it. And so in Lake Charles, this I'm not going to mention the chain
Right.
had a big operation, and suddenly black people could go there.
Nice.
And so when this chain started making money and learning that people of color had money and could spend it,
Yes.
and they were all getting rich,
Yes.
all the other chains says we want some of that too. That's how integration started. It was business focused.
I did not realize that, Tony. Thank you. And
Yeah,
I'm a fan of history. Yeah.
so it was business. And
Yes. Yes.
so that's what I did with the diversity program. I said we're going to build this on the idea that we can increase our business if
Yes.
we reach out to certain communities and because they got money. Believe it or not, they got money.
That's very,
And
yes.
so in doing that, we sold them on the idea of the business aspect.
Okay.
And of course, we hired some of them too. Okay.
Right. Oh my
So
goodness.
I
Thank you
did
for
that
that
for
story,
5 years.
Tony.
I
Yeah, I
did
had
that.
no idea.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
And today, when I see, and the other thing they were doing on all their posters, whether recruiting for Monday or Blood, there were no people of color on it. It was
right.
just all white people.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so now when I see, black people, or Asians, or whatever, I just chuckle to myself why that is. So with that, Charles, I retired. I did go to work for Lockheed Martin for 2 years on a contract, but I just did my job there. But I was tired after my journey, and I just wanted to spend more time with my family, and I retired. And so now I have 3 children, 7 grandchildren, and 8 great grandchildren.
Oh my gosh.
And they're all good citizens.
That's yeah. I
Uh,
with a grandfather and a great grandfather like you, yes. Yeah, they have a great model,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
Tony, thank you so much.
yeah,
I only have one question from your entire story. Everything else you explained clearly,
yeah.
precisely. It was wonderful. My only question is, what was the name of the Lake Charles restaurant run by the black person
Oh,
that everybody went to?
yeah, Miller's
Miller's.
barbecue. It was on the corner.
Was it on Broad Street or Kirkman or where was it?
Oh, it was on Louisiana Avenue, corner of Louisiana Avenue, and whatever street. Uh, well, there's Railroad Avenue, and if you're going south, the next street over, I can't think of the name of it today,
Yeah, let's see.
but Louisiana Avenue runs north and south.
Yes.
What is
Yeah.
on the corner right there? It's right next to the interstate. There's now.
Got you. Okay.
There was
I know that area. Okay.
Miller's barbecue.
Miller's
And,
Barbecue.
Yeah,
And
and
yeah,
it was really good.
I can imagine.
It
Yes.
was 10 pounds good.
Yes, it does.
Because
Thank you very much for that. Now I have the three questions that we talked about
okay,
earlier. And, that first one was, you know, what was or were the most significant events out of all of this you just shared with us? The most significant events that helped make you the man you are today?
Yeah. Well, I think the two things were I got a real good moral upbringing, moral covenant. The first, if you got a, I don't know all moms, but the first thing I had to do when I was to remember 6 years old was to get out of bed, get on my knees, and say Our Father prayer.
Yes.
And then I had to make up my bed. I'm 6 years old.
Yes.
And then I got admonished. You got to do the best you can every day, uh, and good things will happen to you. I've heard that over and over and over. And then a great education is the other thing. I went to Sacred Heart, and guess what? Uh, Over the door that you go into school, it says, if you don't do your best, it's a sin against God.
And you saw that every day.
Every day.
Okay.
So with that, those were the things that kept me straight and narrow.
Yeah, I can see it. Okay.
Yeah, 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 and
Um,
hard work. Yeah,
yeah. At the beginning, when we first started talking
yeah,
in your story, you said your purpose in telling all of this is to inspire people of
yes,
all ages and color.
yeah,
Is there anything that you would like to add to that as far as your purpose speaking today?
yes. I guess the bottom line, Charles, is I'm just happy to be able to share uh, my activities and the activities of a life well lived.
Very much.
As I look back on my 80 some years, uh, I when my time comes to go to sleep, I can feel comfortable that I did the very best I could, and I'm happy, and hopefully people who have heard me will take some of the things I've said and maybe incorporate it into their lives.
I
But
know I will. Thank you, Tony.
yeah,
All right. So one of the main reasons we do this at DevDoc, when your descendants watch this 50, 100 years from now, what's the
yeah,
most important thing you want them to take from your story?
yeah. Well, kids, you got to work hard, and you got to make this world a better place than when you found it. Yeah, this
That's
is
it. That's the answer. Yes.
yeah.
Work hard and make it better.
That's right. That's
Love
right.
that. Love that. Tony, as I said at the beginning, this is the most profound honor to
Yeah,
be able to talk to you and record this. And look, I am a student of history, and you have taught me so much because we're hearing it from someone who lived it. And Tony,
yeah,
I cannot express how grateful I am. I did Shakespeare, many Shakespeare, and I still can't find the words
yeah,
to express how grateful I am to you.
yeah.
Um, Look, this is, this is your story, but if for some reason you want to add anything, we can come back and do some more. Whatever, as long as you're able, I'm
Yeah,
here for you. So
yeah. Okay.
please let me know. And if I have any other questions, I'll let you know. But is there anything else right now that you would like to say?
No, I thank you for the opportunity to do this. Many people have said I should write a book
Yes.
about my
Yes.
experiences, but I've always thought, well, there are a lot of books about stuff, and people don't, particularly younger folks, don't read books anymore. They're, they want to see videos and TikTok and all
Yeah,
that other stuff.
I know.
And but so this gave me a great opportunity to, to tell the story once.
Well,
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
but I do think that the project we talked about ought to be something to do stories on each one of the distinguished graduates,
Yes.
and then
At
have that,
McNeese. Yes.
yeah, and have that as a audio visual for the students to be able to click on and get inspired by all those people who've done great things.
Definitely. I know we can make it work. You've
Yeah,
always made it work.
yeah.
I'm
And the key
joining
is
you, so
put
we're
it
gonna
in
make it work.
the new ranch where the students can see it.
Exactly.
Move it out of the alumni building on the corner there,
Yes.
stuff in the new, because it's for the students to be
Yes.
inspired. Yeah.
Yes.
So anyway,
Thank you, Tony. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. I hope you got as much out of this as I have. This has been a history lesson and so much more. So I hope that, Tony, your family and your descendants just get the everything that I got from this and more as family members. So thank you all very much for watching and to be continued, as we said, and see you next time. Thank you all.